from ITTT, back this week with another live session. Thank you so much for joining me today. We're live, as always, on YouTube and on Facebook at the same time. So welcome. Today we're going to talk about when is the best time to apply for teaching English jobs, English teaching jobs, TEFL jobs, TESOL jobs, all that stuff. We're going to look at the different types of schools because they have different hiring seasons, and also the different regions in the world, countries in the world, and when they are hiring and their hiring seasons. All right. Hi, Crystalline. Hi, how are you doing? Awesome, guys. So if you can see me, if you can hear me, if you're here, please just let me know in the comments, where are you watching from today? Where are you at? Let me know. Or just say hi if you don't want to share your location, whatever it is. Just let me know that you're here. I can see how many people are watching, but I can't see who you are. So I will not know until you throw a hi into the comment section, basically. Also, guys, don't forget to like and subscribe. This is a weekly thing that we do here at ITTT. Free for you all, free information. You can ask me questions live. It's a good thing to join, right? So that you never miss any upcoming live sessions. I highly recommend liking our Facebook page and subscribing to our YouTube channel. So wherever you are watching from. Also, our Facebook page is filled with amazing information, useful teaching materials as well that you can print out and use in your classroom, or just inspiration. Teaching jobs, we also share that on our Facebook page. What else do we share on there? A lot of stuff and a lot of information. So it's always good to like that and to go through the content. A lot of information on there. YouTube the same. We have a huge library of videos, so do check that out as well. And let me just know where you're watching from. We have Ma Bubul. I hope I'm saying that right. Hi from Bangladesh. How are you doing? And Amitava is here again. How are you? I'm great. Thank you. How are you today? I hope everybody is doing well. And thank you so much for tuning in. I'm excited. And I'm excited for today's topic that we're going to talk about. So, again, we're talking about when is the best time to apply for TEFL jobs, teaching jobs, English teaching jobs in specific. So, Crystalline says, I've missed the last couple of sessions, but I was finishing up my finals. Oh, I passed, so I have a little less than a half of year to getting my bachelor's. Then I can finally go abroad for my internship job. Oh, that's so exciting. Wow. Well, then I think this live session is perfect for you, so you can kind of know about the different hiring seasons for the places that you want to go to. So stay tuned for those. Really good. And you're from Ohio. Yeah, and you changed your picture, I think. It's nice. Is that from the no, I don't think. From Moana, the goddess. What was her name? Tifi? Something like that. Looks like that. I think that's wrong. Anyway, then we have Alexandros back again. Great content, always helpful and precise. I'm a TESOL graduate watching from Greece. Yay! I really miss Greece. I've been only once, unfortunately, but I remember it was amazing. Athens. It was a couple years ago, so we were in Athens first. Me and my mom. Athens, and then oh my god, the food was great. Athens is a beautiful city. Loved it. And then we went over to Crete and we rented a car and we drove around Crete, which was also very, very beautiful and amazing. So I really miss that. I really want to go back, actually. Maybe this summer. We'll see. Crystalline says, oh yeah, Tefiti. That's what it is. Is it that? Okay. Oh, then I was right. Oh, I love that character so much. Beautiful. All right, guys. And then you also always know that we have a 30% off opportunity, 30% discount off of all of our TEFL and TESOL courses just for you guys. So what you can do is you can scan this QR code, or I also have a link for you. Let me get this link. So again, you can scan this QR code and get the discount. Oh, I have some little something here. Little hairs. I don't know. Oh, it's getting like humid in Korea, so you can definitely feel like ah, we're not there yet, thankfully, with the humidity, but soon. So, anyway, this is the link. It ends with FB Live minus Linda. So you copy paste this link, and then you can get 30% off any TEFL or TESOL course from ITTT. So if you're just getting started, this is a great opportunity. Do not pay full price. I always say that. Use this discount code. It'll save you some money that you then can spend when you move abroad and you can go shopping, you can go traveling, right? Okay. All right. Mabubul says, can you suggest any specific degree which is allowed everywhere? Can you enlighten detail? Yes, absolutely. So for a lot of English teaching jobs abroad, you do need a 4-year bachelor's degree. Now, in many cases, it does not matter the major that this degree is in. So it could be anything. So me, for example, I have a degree in management, so business. But that allows you also to teach English. So the major doesn't matter, but most of the time they want a 4-year degree. Now, there are also other places where they accept people without a degree as well, or sometimes also a 2-year associate's degree. In terms of TEFL certifications that I would recommend, the 120 hour usually is the minimum, 120. That's the international minimum. And then you also have my personal favorite, which is the 220-hour course. So that's the 120-hour course plus 2 specializations, one in teaching English to young learners and the other one in teaching business English. So 220, that's I think it's called master package. That's my personal favorite, and that's what I have also, and I recommend that one because then you stand out from the crowd, because nowadays everyone has the 120-hour. It's the standard. So you want to have a little bit more than that. So then the 220-hour course is perfect for that. And again, you can use our discount code to save 30% off of that. Great. Then we have Lion here. Good morning. Also from Bangladesh. We have a lot of Bangladeshis. Nice. I like it. How are you doing? Great. All right. So, quick introduction about myself. So, this banner covers my face. Let's get rid of that. All right. So, my name is Linda. This is for everybody who's watching just for the first time. I give a quick introduction every session, just as a refresher. But my name is Linda. I am many different things. I am a travel writer. I am a content creator. I'm also a language teacher. I teach English and German. And I'm also a TEFL and TESOL marketing professional. So I do many different things. I've been with ITTT for about 8 years, I believe. So long, long time. But I do also have my own personal website. It's called lindagoeseast.com, and also on Instagram. I'm very active over there at Linda Goes East. East because I've always been super interested in Asia, and I've been living in Asia pretty much since 2012. I started out in China, and now I've been in Korea now for 8 years. So China and Korea. So if you're interested specifically in those regions, let me know, hit me up. I can give you some details about how to make that happen. But yeah, I'm originally from Germany/USA. So my mom is German, my dad is American, and I'm, like I said, based in South Korea. So that's sort of that side. And then the TEFL and TESOL marketing side for ITTT. If you're kind of tuning in for the first time and you don't know what ITTT is, it stands for International TEFL and TESOL Training. It's a bit of a mouthful. And our website is teflcourse.net. And actually, ITTT has been around a long time, since the 1990s. So it's one of the oldest, most established TEFL and TESOL course providers out there. And of course, we're worldwide. All of our courses are accepted worldwide. We have accreditations. They're all recognized. I Googled TEFL certification back when I was in China, and I came across ITTT, and that's kind of how I slid into that world. So I am a course graduate myself. That's how I started. I took the course, and then I ended up working for ITTT as well. And I've used my certificates for my jobs in China and my jobs in Korea. always accepted, never had any issues. So it's all legit. Crystalline says, I have the master package, have completed 3 of the 6 courses so far. Nice. Great. Excellent. Yeah, that's my favorite course as well, actually, the master package. All right, then what are we doing next? Yes, so let me just show this again. But again, today's topic and what we're going to talk about today, TEFL jobs, when is the best time to apply? There's no just one best time to apply. It depends on a couple of different factors. First of all, the country, the region that you want to go and teach in, but also the type of school that you're applying for. So public school, private school, international school, university, they all might have different take in hiring seasons. So we're going to look at that. We're going to look at the different types of schools. We're going to look at the different countries. We're also going to look a little bit we're going to look a little bit at online teaching. I need to slow down. I don't know. I had too much coffee maybe. And having some more. Anyway, our live sessions last usually about 45 minutes to an hour. So you can grab yourself a snack or a beverage of your choice. But if you can't watch the full live session, no problem. They always stay in our videos always stay in our playlist on Facebook and on YouTube, so you can just refer back to it. Also, if you leave a comment here after the live session is finished, we will also get back to you, so don't worry. I'm also going to share our contact details, of course, so you can just reach out to us later with your questions as well. Okay, I think that's it. So yeah, it just again 30%. I'm just going to leave this banner here, and I'm going to share that link one more time later as well, so you can have that for anybody who's like tuning in later. But yeah, let's jump in. So let's start off with this one, I believe. Yeah, so the best time to apply for teaching jobs depends on two main factors. So one is the country that you want to teach in, and then the other factor is the institution that you want to work for. So the country and the type of school, basically, or the type of institution. So let's start off by looking at looking at the different types of institutions, different types of places where you can work as an English teacher, and when specifically they hire. As always, feel free to leave your comments. I know many of you have taught abroad, are teaching abroad, so you also have a lot of valuable experience and things to share. So don't be shy. Share, and also questions, any questions you have. Also, again, at the end we will also have a Q&A section for a couple of minutes, so you can ask questions then as well. But feel free to keep the comment section poppin'. So here are the different kinds of TEFL jobs that we see. There might be more than these 4, but these are kind of the most the biggest ones, the most common ones. So of course we have our government/public schools. So we see a lot of English teachers working for those. And then of course also the private language schools. And I would say those are the 2 main schools that you as an English teacher abroad will be working for, either a public school or a private school. So these are the most common. However, we also have a lot of teachers who work, for example, at universities. Also in my city, there's a big university, and some of my friends are English teachers at the university. They teach English. Some of them might teach English grammar. Some of them might just do English communication, conversation things. But that's also one of the places where you might find a teaching job at a university. And then also very popular, especially in Europe, we have the summer camp positions. So those 4. But like I said, public schools and private schools are the top ones, the ones where you will find most of the teaching positions available. So let's go through those, what they are exactly, and then have a look at when they also hire. So we're starting off here with government and public schools. And here, as you might imagine, like in your own home country, most of the time, the students that you're teaching are usually aged between 4 years old and 18 years old, or 6 years old and 18 years old, or older than 18. So it depends on the local school system and how old the students are, from elementary school all the way to high school, that age range. And here, if you're working for a public school, you might either be the main teacher, or you might also be an assistant teacher, or you might be the whole class teacher, or you might be just the English teacher. So let's break that down a little bit. So the main teacher and class teacher, I think, might be the same thing or very similar. So actually, that's what I had in my kindergarten where I was teaching English. I was the main teacher. So that was my class, main teacher and class teacher. I had that one class every day, the same class of students, and we taught different subjects. So not only English, but we had like reading, and we had one was like science, and one was, I don't even remember exactly, but we had different subjects. But I was the class teacher, the main teacher. But there was also a Korean teacher, that was kind of the assistant teacher. But sometimes it can be the other way around, where the main teacher is actually a local teacher. So in my case, a Korean teacher or a Japanese teacher. I think in Japan they actually do that a lot. So the main teacher, the class teacher, might be a local, and then you are the assistant. So you only do the English section, or you might be in the classroom at the same time, and you might teach together. So it depends on the school, depends on how the public schools are structured. So that's what we also see. Or you are just the English teacher. So you would teach English to all of the different classes in that school. Might also be all the different grades, all the different people. So it depends. Sometimes we see a combination of all of these things. So it might depend on the type of school, not the type of school, that the country that you work in. Of course, you teach during school hours, and you're possibly also involved with after school clubs, such as drama or art or tennis, things like that. A lot of times, English teachers, they would give you like a book club, for example, that you have to do. Or actually, at our school, we also had like chess. Somebody would do chess, or whatever maybe you personally have as a skill, you can bring in as an after school club. We also see that a lot. So that is a public school teacher. And then looking at the private language schools. So here you teach learners really of all ages. So you could also teach adults older than 18, or you might also teach children younger than elementary school, so kindergarten or even younger. My youngest student that I ever had in China, I think, was 2 years old. So that's the private language school. That age range is really all over the place, depends on the school. If this language school only targets maybe young children, pre-K, whatever, kindergarten, all these things. Depends on the language school. You teach any time of the day, possibly even in the evenings, because these private language schools are often after school. So then they start a little bit later. We have a lot of these working hours are typically 1 p.m. to 8 or 9 p.m. for these types of schools. The students, they can start at any time and stay at the school for a week or a year or anything in between. So what this means, contrary to a public school where there's a set like start date and end date, set semesters, with private language schools, they sometimes also have that, but basically the students, they can start at any time, or new classes can start at any time. They are not bound to the schedule like a public school. So, and sometimes, depending on the language school you work for, you might have, courses that last for a month, maybe like an intensive 1 month course, or you might have a whole year. You might only have in the summer a summer course. So it's different than a public school. So yeah, and then of course universities. So here you teach adult learners during the day. You don't teach children, obviously, in a university. You teach university age students during the day. And then the summer camp, you teach high school learners over a number of weeks. I think not only high school learners actually, but also children, right, of all ages. I would say similar to the public school, right? Summer camp. And again, just over a couple of weeks, right? Summer camp, there's also winter camp when I add that, but summer camp is more common, especially in European countries. So here are the different kinds of jobs. Oh, that's okay. Sorry, got out, but still connected and watching till the end as well. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. All right. Let's have a look at when these types of schools hire. So let's start off with the government and public schools. So again, here it's important to note that different countries have different academic years, right? So for example, in my home country where I grew up in Germany, our school year starts in September versus in Korea, here it starts in March. So it's very different. Or in April, I think it's March. Very different. And so it just depends on the country that you are in when they have their public school academic year start. Here, though, to note, the schools they prefer to hire teachers for the beginning of the year, of course, and to commit to at least a whole year, sometimes even two. So you really will be hired then a couple of months before this academic year starts. And then you have to stay like for at least one whole year because they don't want to search for a new teacher in the middle of the school year. They don't like that, of course. Some schools even want you to commit for 2 years, but that's a little bit more rare. Most of the time, it is 1 year. So that's for public schools. Private language schools. So some private language schools, they actually follow the public school year and have similar hiring seasons because, again, these are private language schools that are targeted at students. So they have these after school programs, and so they run at the same time as the public schools. But other private language schools, they really hire throughout the year without a strict hiring schedule. So you might find positions there at any time of the year. It really depends. With university, it's pretty much the same with the public schools. So different countries have different academic years, same, right? And these universities also prefer to hire teachers at the beginning of the semester and to commit for at least a year again, or sometimes even two. Same with the public school. With the summer camp, especially in Europe, this will happen in July and August. This is when most of Europe is on summer vacation in July and August. And then they usually recruit for these positions 3 months in advance. So if it's in July, it's what? April? Is that right? Something like that. April. So in the spring. They recruit in the spring for the summer camp positions. So yeah, we're also going to look at the countries later more in detail, which specific countries have what kind of hiring seasons, which months. So you know, this would be then for the universities and for the public schools, etc. Okay. Yes, we're going to look at that right now, as a matter of fact. All right, so the different hiring seasons. Oh, there's a spelling error. Saisons. My mistake. Hiring seasons around the world. Need to fix that. All right, let's have a look. So, just an important thing, of course, to keep in mind that schools don't hire teachers in the month before the new academic year. They begin recruiting and hiring a few months before, and sometimes even up to a year in advance. We're going to talk about that as well. Why is that? Of course, this is because of visa reasons and because of the fact that TEFL teachers, they usually need to relocate to the city of the school or the country. So you need to get a lot of stuff organized, which can take a couple of months. You need to get a work visa. You need to do all of these things. You need to buy your airplane ticket. You need to go there. So that usually takes a couple of months. Sometimes you need to get like a background check, which takes a couple of weeks to get. So all of these documents, that preparation time takes a long time. And so you usually go through that hiring process a couple months before, right? So you are just in time. That's something to keep in mind. So here is a table, and feel free to take a screenshot. I can't talk today. Take a screenshot of this right here. These are the hiring seasons for TEFL jobs around the world. So you have the country, the academic year start, and then when they hire. So as you can see, for example, Brazil here, their academic year starts in February and they start hiring in December, January also. Korea, March academic year, so they also start hiring in January. I think sometimes even in December. So I would just kind of go earlier than this, what it says on here, just to be sure, just to make sure you're really on time and you don't miss any opportunities. Argentina also March, and they hire in January and February. Japan is April, and they hire in February and March. Thailand is in May, and they actually have two hiring seasons. So one is March and April, and the other one is November. Then we have Vietnam, where the academic year starts in August, and they hire in May and June. Mexico, their academic year starts in August, but they actually start hiring much earlier in February already. So keep that in mind. Also, academic year in China is September, and they start hiring already in January and February for that September intake. And that is usually because, especially countries like China, they have very strict visa regulations, and you need a lot of documents and you need a lot of prep time to get your visa and everything. So you need more time for that. But keep that in mind. If you want to go to China, most positions are advertised at the beginning of the year for fall. So keep that in mind. Spain here, also the academic year there starts in September, but they hire in July and August, so right before, or also in January as a second hiring season. And then we have the United Arab Emirates, where the academic year starts in August and they start hiring in March. From March to June is their hot period. So right now we're already kind of in the middle of the hiring season there. So if you want to go to the United Arab Emirates, now is the time to look for jobs, basically. So feel free to take a screenshot of this so you have it if there's your country of choice. If your country of choice is not listed here, don't worry. I actually did a big live in the past, which is called the top hiring seasons for teaching English abroad. You can find that in our playlist. And here I go through a lot of different countries as well, and just more details about these hiring seasons in particular. So I recommend checking that out if there's a country that you really want to go to. Some more free information for you. And then also let's talk about the different programs that have their own application deadlines. All right, so what do I mean by that? What do I mean by this? So, for example, here we have the JET program in Japan and the EPIC program in South Korea. These are two of the biggest and most popular English teaching programs in Asia and in also the whole world, to be honest. So, they've been around for a very long time. And what they do is they place English teachers, foreign English teachers, into schools in Japan and in Korea. One second. There we go. So they have really their own strict application deadlines, and they are very strict. If you miss that exact date by which you need to apply, you will be out. You will not be considered. So it's very important to keep in mind. They also have their own official websites. You can check it out. JET program, just put that in Google. Also EPIC program Korea, just put that into Google, and it will show you exactly for this year the exact date, the deadlines by which you need to apply. So let's have a look here. Their application deadline is between, so you can apply between October and January for the JET program. So their deadline is somewhere in January. So right now you cannot apply for the JET program. So when you apply between October and January, that intake will then start. Those teachers are hired and they will start teaching in July or August. So this is almost, if you apply for this program in October and you might start in August, this is like 10 months, right? Is it? I think a 10 months in advance that they hire, because this program is very competitive but also very good, and they have a lot of support. They have orientation. It's very planned out. They've been around for many years, so and very competitive, so they need a lot of time to go through all of the applicants as well. EPIC program is very similar, so they actually hire twice a year. So they hire in August to start in February, and then February to start in August. So that's actually really easy to remember. So if you want to teach English in Korea with the EPIC program next year, for example, in February, then you need to apply this year in August. So check out their website, what's the August deadline, that exact day, what it is. And the other way around, if you want to teach next year in the summer, so if you want to start next year in August teaching English in Korea with the EPIC program, then you need to apply in February next year to get considered. So there are also more. There are two more really popular programs, which is the TEFL program in France, and they hire from mid-October to January to start in October. So also they start recruiting about a year in advance, right? So that's for France. Again, if you want more details on this, you can put that into Google TAPIF program France. I also recommend, just in a second, a other live session that I did covering all of these government programs. If you want more details on those and which countries offer these, so there's that. And then another popular one is this one in Spain called the North American Language and Culture Assistance Program. That's called NALCAP for short. That's in Spain. And they recruit in January and in April. So they just finished from January to April to start in August and September. So if someone watching right now really wanted to join this program, it's too late, right? So you would have to wait until January next year to apply, and then to start in August and September of next year. So that's why it's really important that you guys join these live sessions like right now, so you get as much information as possible about the destination where you want to go to, so you know what your options are, you know what the timelines are, what the hiring seasons are, so you can be ready for that time. You have your TEFL in hand, you have all your other things, and you are ready to apply. So that's why it's great that you're here and you're getting this information. So yeah, this is the live session that I just talked about. I did this in the past about the best government programs for teaching English abroad. So if you're interested, there's actually many more than just those four that I mentioned, but these four that I mentioned are just the most the most popular and the biggest ones. So there are actually many, many more in other countries as well. So go to this live session if you're interested in joining one of these government programs. So maybe let's talk 1 second about why you should join these government programs. So there is actually no cost to, sometimes they have an application fee, but there's no placement fee. So these are just programs that are basically sponsored by the local governments in their countries. So for example, Korea, the EPIC program, this is from the Korean government because they want to get foreign English teachers into their countries to teach their local Korean children in the schools, right? To improve their English. So that's the whole concept, basically. And a lot of countries do that. And all these programs, are different from country to country, but typically they would just have a lot of support. So in many cases, in the JET program in Japan, EPIC program in Korea, they would actually come pick you up from the airport. Then there's like a 4-week, 6-week orientation period where you and other people from this program, all the newbies, get together and you learn about the country. You might even learn a little bit more about the schools and about the teaching style in this country. It's really fun and you have a really good support system. So I always recommend joining these kinds of programs or actually trying just to get in for anyone who is totally new to living abroad, totally new to teaching English abroad, because you have the support system. And I believe throughout your entire contract, you always have the assistance from someone from the program. If you have any questions, if you have any problems, you can always contact someone from there. So I think that's really good, and it's very well organized, and you get a lot of benefits, good money, they pay for housing, all of these things. So it's always good to be in one of these programs, especially as a newbie. And then later on, you can go out of the program and you can join a different school. But just to get your foot through the door, I think these programs are really, really good. So again, this live session just mentions a couple more of these government programs in other countries as well. Check it out. Good. Oh, yeah. I also have a video specifically on government programs for teaching English in Europe because they're quite a lot. I think Europe has the most of these programs, so do check it out if you're interested specifically in teaching English in Europe. All right, then next here we have teaching English online, right? Let's talk about that as well. A lot of people nowadays are interested specifically in teaching English online because why not? And actually, a couple of weeks ago, right, we did a live session with the digital nomad visas because that's just super, super popular as well nowadays. So many countries, if you haven't seen that and you want to work online, I really recommend you watch that. There are so many, 55, I believe now, 55 countries in the world who have digital nomad visas. So you can work online but live in that country. And for us, relevant. How is that relevant? Well, with teaching English online, you can be an English online teacher but work in a different country. So I think that's a really great opportunity. And let's have a look quickly at when to apply for online positions then. How are the hiring seasons there? How does it work? So let's go through that. So, first things first. So, online platforms, they really don't have any hiring seasons, which is great. So, you can really register and apply at any time. At any time. They most of the time don't have any hiring seasons, right? It's not like schools. Some platforms, however, and that's something important to keep in mind, that some platforms they might stop accepting new members or new teachers after a certain number of teachers if they have after they have reached a certain number of teachers on their platform. So, for example, I've seen that before. For example, I think Preply had that, or a different online language learning platform. So they don't only have English, but they also have German and French and Spanish and Italian and all that. But of course, there's so many more English teachers, so that once they reached, I don't know how many, hundreds, 500, I don't know, 150, don't quote me on that, just as an example. Once they have reached 500 English teachers, they stop taking in new ones. Am I still here? Okay, I was frozen for a second, I think. So after some platforms do that just because they want to cap it down, but not all of the platforms do that. And also, the hiring process for online teaching jobs is very quick. But it also doesn't happen overnight. So a lot of people think, oh, yeah, I'm just going to fill out this application and then I'm going to start teaching tomorrow. That's also not how it works. But for me, from my own experience, I started teaching English online in 2020, I believe, or 2021 during the pandemic, might have been 2020. And I picked a platform and then I filled out my application. The next day, I got an appointment for a virtual interview, which was maybe 2 or 3 days later. I did the interview, and then the next day, they were like, okay, you're in, you can start teaching. So it was like about a week, I think, about a week, the process. And then I was able to teach English online after just 1 week. So it's quick, but again, it doesn't happen overnight. But it's quicker, of course, than teaching English abroad, where you have to move and make all of these preparations also for your visa and things like that. So, yeah. And if you are interested in teaching English online, I have this previous live session for you, a complete guide to teaching English online, everything you need to know, from what kind of equipment you need, which platforms are good, how much money you can earn, all of that stuff you can find in this live session from the past. So do check it out if you're interested in teaching English online. You can just find it here in our playlist, Complete Guide to Teaching English Online. Type that in and you'll find this one, and there's a lot of information there for you. Okay, so that is all the information I have for you guys today, but let's do a quick recap because I know we have people coming in and out of this live session. But basically, this is what we talked about today, and this is the most important stuff I want you to take away from today, okay? So the best time to apply for TEFL jobs depends on two things. One is the country that you want to teach in, and the second is the institution you want to work for what type of school. Public and state-run schools, they have hiring seasons according to an academic year, but they vary in different countries, right? Private schools, they might hire throughout the year without a strict hiring schedule, but some, they also follow the academic calendar. So it depends on the private school. Then we talked about summer camp positions, and this is especially in Europe where they happen in July and August, the summer camps, and they are often filled 3 months in advance, so in the springtime. In the spring, late winter, early spring, they are filled for the summer. Now, then we also talked about different teaching programs like the JET program, the EPIC program, the TEFL program, and the NALCAP program. There's many, many more. But all of these programs have their very own application deadlines, and they're very strict. They're often to the day and also to an exact time. And if you are later than that, you are not in. You will not be considered. So that's very important that if you want to join one of these programs, really be on time, send in your stuff in time, not after the deadline, because then you're really out. Online platforms, we also just talked about that. So online platforms, they don't have hiring seasons. You can register and apply at any time. However, some platforms, they might stop an intake after they have reached a certain amount of teachers, just to limit and not be overcrowded, or if they just don't need any more. So keep that in mind as well. I think that's about it now, right? That is it. So yeah, I'm just asking you now, are you ready? So the general rule of thumb here is to start the application process as early as possible. That's why it's great that you guys are here and you're watching this. You get free information, you get prepared, you learn about the timeline, when you should do what. So the earlier you start, the better, right? The earlier you do this, the better. Get your TEFL certificate, and then you have it even a year or two before you plan on going somewhere, because things take time. And as we've seen, the world can be very unpredictable, like with COVID, that pushed things back a couple of years. You know, things like getting a background check, getting visas, took so much longer, so you never know what happens. So it's just better to start as early as possible. That's what I want you to take away from today. And yes, so this is again how to reach ITTT. You can actually request a callback if you want to speak with one of our consultants over the phone. You can request a callback on our website. You go to teflcourse.net, and at the top it will say request a callback. You can do that. You can also always reach us via email at courses@tsol-tefl.com if you have any questions. Also, if you're not quite sure which course is right for you, any of these kinds of things, reach out to us and we'll help you. And yeah, then we still have a couple of minutes here that we can take questions. So again, I just want to mention this 30% off discount, right? We mentioned that in the beginning, so I just want to mention it again. You can get a 30% discount off of any TEFL or TESOL course from ITTT if you scan this QR code, or I also have a link for you that you can copy and paste, and that will get you 30% off as well. If you're not yet TEFL or TESOL certified, and like I just said, you want to start as early as possible with this journey, if you want to teach English abroad, that will really help you. So copy paste this link. It ends with FB Live minus Linda, and I'll get you 30% off any TEFL or TESOL course from ITTT. And then, do I have one more slide, or is this it? I think that's it. So we have Q&A now. I don't have a slide for Q&A, but I do have a banner. So here we go. Ask me your questions, guys. Ask me your questions. Either about today's topic, if there was something that wasn't clear, or if you have any other questions about TEFL, TESOL, teaching English abroad, anything really, now is your chance to ask a question. So just via the comment section, if you have a question, type it in, and then I'll answer it for you. We still have a couple of minutes here that I can be online for you guys. So don't be shy. I always say there are no stupid questions, okay? We are all at different stages in our teaching journey, in our going abroad journey. So some of you guys might be at the very beginning and you don't really know a lot about this stuff yet, and that's okay, right? Some of us might already have completed a TEFL course, so we already know more about TEFL, TESOL, about the countries. Some of you watching might already be abroad teaching and you're looking for a new opportunity. So we're all at different stages, and that's okay. And we can still answer questions about everything. Also me, I've been doing this for, I think I said in the beginning, like 8 years, and I still learn new things, right? I still learn new things all the time, and things change all the time as well. So 10 years ago, or when I first started, 8 years ago, 7 years ago, now things are so much different. Things are so much different now, especially with the digital nomad visas where you can go abroad and work online. Also, there are new teaching programs that came out than when I started, or even new courses, right? When I first started this, nobody really was teaching English online, and now it's so popular. So things change all the time. So, yeah. Let's see. And I really appreciate you guys who were here today. We have Crystalline, really appreciate you. Mabubul from Bangladesh, Alexandros from Greece. Then we had Lion here from Bangladesh as well. So thank you guys so much for tuning in and asking questions or just leaving comments. That really means a lot to me, because sometimes it can be quite daunting to go live, and especially if you don't get any responses, it can be a little strange just talking to myself, but it's all right. That's why we're doing this, right? To provide information to you guys. But if there are no questions, that's okay too. We will go live again next week, and next week will actually be a whole Q&A, TEFL Q&A session, because it is the first Friday of a new month. So every first Friday of a new month, we do a live session only Q&A. So you guys can ask me your questions next week. You can write it down, save it for next week, and then ask me then. Yeah. All right. Well, I think there are no more questions coming through today, and that's okay. That's okay. I hope you guys enjoyed today's live session. I hope you learned something. And again, I appreciate you staying on and coming on however long you watch these live sessions. It means a lot to me, even if you just watch 5 minutes. So I appreciate that. And yeah, like I said, next week we are doing a Q&A session. So Mabubul, maybe next week you can join again, and you can ask questions. You can think about some questions for next week. Everybody always has some questions. I hope to see you too again next week, okay? Same place, same time. Please join us again. It was really nice to see you. All right, then I'm going to say goodbye, and I hope everybody has a wonderful weekend, whatever you're doing, wherever you are. Always stay safe, and I hope to see you again next week. Thank you guys so much, and take care. Bye.